Last song we have to fucking perch here.
Yeah.
He's getting rid of the couch. Are you getting rid of these couches?
Good question.
Leave them in.
You reckon?
Yeah, rent them out, mate. I had a fucking great idea today. Right, you know the guys who are coming up to the car and they're begging for money.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you call yourself the rubbish man and just have a big sack on your front and everyone can put the shit out of the car in there and then I'll give you $2 and drop the shit
So
out
they
of the
have like a little bin and you put all the...
It's a fucking good idea, right? You know?
You like have rubbish?
You lazy bastard.
I'd
Get rid of your own rubbish.
You've
You've got like 12 children. Get your kids to clean your car out.
How much would you give someone if they came to your rubbish away?
couple of bucks.
It's not too bad. If
tax free.
Yeah.
You know, plus what you're getting elsewhere.
I'm just asking because the show's about to finish, so I just need something to do over the summer.
You want to get this over and done with really quickly, I reckon.
Why?
Well, because, you know.
Yeah, they've started.
In about an hour.
yeah, let's get going.
It's the last show, Rick.
We've had the rap party before the show, you know.
So it's the last show. You're going to cut loose. Like you haven't been cutting loose for the last 20 weeks. This is the last show.
Oh, yay.
Pardon? Yay. And before we get into it, I just want to thank the TAB because the TAB backed us again. They backed us at the beginning when we first started the show, and they backed us again this time. And there is no show without the TAB. So thanks for believing in us.
Yeah, and I think if we go to a more granular level, we've got to thank the gamblers out there,
investors.
Yeah.
Well, those people who back their nous, back their knowledge.
Yeah.
Back that hunch.
Yeah.
And get involved. And without them, there's no TAB. And
So thank you for your support as well.
Yeah.
Which is basically
every time you put on the number 2 dog with the blue and white hoops, paying between $5 and $10, there's your tip.
Right. Welcome, Lana. You enjoying the show so far?
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. It's really always informative and interesting and engaging. And
I can't believe you've actually.
I can't believe it.
And furthermore,
it's blackmail.
I must say this is probably the most fun hour and a half of your week. Really, must come in on here.
Really? I'm pretty sure I could tell you a few other fun things that I'm doing that have nothing to do with this show. Let me assure you.
Hour and a half is one of those sort of time periods.
And also, I've played a lot of clips in here that have been pretty embarrassing. A little bit for you, mainly for you. So I thought I'd find one that was a little bit embarrassing for me. And this was, when we did the 300th show, it was actually the 297th, but we did it at the St. James Theatre. We had about 3,000 people there. And for some reason, I decided to do this.
Rico Trango!
Oh, you did a stand-up at the beginning, eh?
If only they'd listened to me in the studio.
Whoa. Remember this?
This could have been a so much better show. Sitting around on my little red sofa, which sort of rhymes with...
How's in the band?
Fuck, I can't remember this. Why can't I remember this? I want to remember this.
I had to keep changing keys because you kept changing.
Looking back, there's oh so far to go.
Oh my God, what were we thinking?
Lion Red and the Sportscafe.
There's only 3,000 people there.
Together we could have found.
Is this on your bucket list or something?
No, I don't know why. I thought it was a good idea.
We just found ourselves nude. And that guy asked the All Black captain,
where you do poos?
This could have been
a
TV great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There are actually people there because nobody's laughing.
They're not laughing, they're enjoying the song.
That's the point.
In quite
There was 10,000 people not laughing.
That's clear.
Was this like in rehearsal or something?
There's 3,000 people stunned.
Empty all the time. Oh, mate.
If only they listened
gets better.
to me in the studio. Whoa.
Did you write this yourself?
I actually thought you were better singer than that, Rick. This is
Could
terrible.
have had.
He's actually reading the words to the song too.
I couldn't remember them.
1, 2, 3, 4. This could have been.
Yeah, the dancing girls.
Great. Oh yeah.
Dancing girls, save it.
Only you wouldn't let me in
Got the words there.
You look kind of like a punk rocker too. You're angry.
Should have started off like this. Didn't need the eulogy in the beginning, you know.
Would have been.
You know it's tanking, but you're in the middle of it.
Right, you've just got to commit.
The look
And
says.
then you can't stop.
You've got to commit.
Sing along.
Sing along. Oh, please, can I?
Like, we all know the words.
Put your hands together.
Sing along.
There we go.
got Mr.
Look how angry he
Marc
is.
Ellis. La-da-di-da, la-da-di-da.
You're part of it.
You're part of this.
You're part of this monstrosity.
I don't sing. There's no
Our very own Lana Cocroft.
See, now there is an audience now.
Big applause there.
What are you doing?
Halloween, is it?
What are you?
I didn't know you were in this.
Applause, ladies and gentlemen, for that guy and the
It gets
Chino
better.
guy.
It gets better.
When were you in this?
Oh my God. Oh, you can't play this, mate. This is seriously the most shit show I've ever seen in my life.
I think the band's quite good though. The band's actually quite tight.
What were we thinking? Did we just have production meetings or anything?
We were on, must have been a lot of drugs or something back then. Grace is just going for it.
Drumming was good though.
Yeah, great,
Drumming was
great drumming.
I'm better than him.
I
But
think you could probably just edit all that out and just have the drumming. So I don't think there's any need for any of the rest of that.
I'd forgotten I did that as well.
Why was I dressed up?
It was a big event.
I think you must be working night shifts at Middlemore or something.
You were just late.
Shit.
It was a good show though. After that,
Well, who would know?
I can't remember that.
Who was still listening? Who was still watching after that?
Well, who's still watching now?
Exactly.
I'll give you. Here's a little bit from the show. This is when got it back on
I
track.
reckon we've all got like PTSD, and it's like there's some sort of serious mental condition that we've.
Was it like an
No,
STDs?
PTSD.
Oh, okay.
Well,
We've
I
got
was just,
STDs.
oh, sorry, I was just
Not the dripping-
talking
not
about
the
the rest of us.
dripping
I wasn't
Yeah.
including you in that story. Yeah.
PTSDs.
Yeah.
Can we have a look at
Some things you don't need to share.
some moments from the 300 show just so we can clear our memory of the previous bit?
Oh, the
Oh,
tree.
stop it!
Thank you very much. Well, you know, I'm obviously a big fan of the show.
What's that, Rick?
What do you think of the show?
Oh, seeing it's been going for 300 times, it's getting better.
Is there any chance of answering my question here or what? No, not much.
It's the first one you've asked all year.
I don't
which
get
is
to ask
very
them too often, you know, it's just like,
I must have attention deficit.
What
What
was
was
the
the question, Lovey?
does he call himself an Aussie or a Kiwi? Excuse me, can you take your hand off my knee?
Didn't he even put that up?
Married with 5 kids.
Yeah.
Married with 5 kids.
If you would only love me like you used to do. It's Cafe, and it's here live on Wednesday at 8:30 on Sky One.
Last time we met, you actually threw a netball at me at my head.
The bounce pass.
You see, with
Actually, in correction, I threw a netball that you didn't catch, which then was hit with your head.
I suppose there's a difference. But enough about me. I mean, you've been here longer than I have. I mean, can they hang on? I wouldn't go as far as to say that, but I'd certainly say Counties could probably hang on. Where'd you get the muffin?
You're in those costumes.
I do want to go home sometime. So
I'll show you how it's done and then you guys can have it.
okay. Is this like that stage jumping sort of in reverse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just lean back.
Bomb it.
1, 2.
You remember that?
Yeah. remember that.
Vaguely, only because Marc said that he ran.
No, I ran as well.
I ran.
We were terrified.
But I was gone.
Yeah, we thought you were going to get really angry and like punch one of us.
Oh, why would you think that?
Oh, just,
You've got a
Not really part of my nature.
little bit of a flaming temper on occasion.
No, not really.
we bring it out on you.
Maybe. No.
Yeah, we got out of there. You weren't supposed to go in. It was supposed to be the cannonball, and you didn't let go.
Yeah, it was quite
It was
funny.
team building. We were meant to
Yeah.
actually keep him above the water.
Oh, were we?
Yeah, it was a trust thing.
Yeah,
But you
trusting.
said to me we're going to
All
let go
failed.
so he falls into the puddle.
Yeah.
Well, nobody did.
Then the lesson is life's not fair.
Did you get the strap a lot when you were
Mate,
at school?
I had so many wooden spoons broken over my ass by my mother. It was, that they would have lined up. They would have, you could start a fire with them.
Yeah, how do you spell surprised?
Yeah. But
What about at school?
it didn't do you any harm.
What about school? Did you get the strap much?
Never got the strap at school. Managed to talk my way out of that.
I had the caning record.
I got
Did you get the caning record?
46 strokes in one term. Unheard of.
Caning?
Yeah, then they stopped it, so I've still got the record.
Caning himself.
You've got the top debut try record. I've got the top caning record.
Well done.
Well, they used to make you stand with your head in the fire half.
Yes.
Yeah, and
whack you, and if you lifted your head up, you copped it on the back of the head.
Yeah. We had such weirdo teachers. With this guy, a science teacher, you would have to go. You put your head under the gas bottle nozzles.
Yeah.
The gas bottle nozzles.
The nozzles.
So you put your head there, and you can't.
Yeah. It's like getting pecked in the head by a bird.
Totally.
There's so many things here. I don't.
We had the science teachers were the sick ones. We had a guy. He was a hell of a nice guy, but he had this leather strap called Oscar, and it was like basically like that bottle, but a hunk of leather, and he'd just walk along and go bam and smash it on the desk right by people's hands. Like if it hit your fingers, it would break them, and people would like freak out. And he had the class just sitting there doing.
Oh yeah. I think there's.
I think he might have whacked a couple of kids on the fingers.
Controversial, but I think there's still room for it.
Oh, mate, I the world's gone a
Parenting
bit,
101.
bit soft, isn't it?
Go you.
Well, on that theme, the world's changed. There's an amazing movie out. I've seen it. You haven't, because I'm special. Called Sharko, about the life of great Kiwi legend Mark Graham. It's made by his son Luke, and it's incredible. Here's a taste of it.
Dad, do you know why I'm making this film about you?
I don't know if too many people even know of me anymore. It's been a lot of years since I've been playing footy, but good luck with it.
Mark Graham.
Mark Graham.
Mark Graham.
When he walked onto the football field, he had an aura about him.
Very fired up. 6'4", 15 and a half stone.
He was the guy.
Fearless. He had a reputation of being extremely hard to beat.
Inducted to Australia's Hall of Fame.
My dad is my idol, but he was never around. And I wanted to learn more about him and his father, so I can be a better dad for my son. Dad, why did you choose rugby league?
I always wanted to be respected, and it's a true test of your toughness.
It had a history, Australia v New Zealand.
And the test is underway, what they're calling World War III.
It was considered a thug's game, but Mark always walked the road less travelled.
He was a tough guy, broken nearly every bone in his body.
My childhood had a lot to do with me surviving.
Always do things to gain your father's approval.
How did you feel about always being away from your family?
Everything comes at a price.
Champions are champions because up here they're smart and in here they've got ticker. I don't think any of us knew what he was going through behind closed doors.
It was a terrible thing.
Do you know why he's called Sharko?
Well, he attacks people.
I've called him a lot of other names.
The sacrifices that you make, those around you suffer, particularly your family.
To be truly great, is it worth the cost?
What a bloody brilliant angle to take on it too.
Does that make you feel watching that?
Yeah, he's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah.
But how does that make you feel knowing that your son's made a movie about your life?
Yeah. Look, if someone else had to come and ask me to do it, I would have said no.
Exactly. What a fresh approach to have a family member for a change to do it, as opposed to a fan or a statist, whatever. Just a real thing,
Yeah, it was
really cool. I mean, I was expecting to see the stuff that I grew up watching. But you were my hero, mate. I mean, that was back when league was just
an underground sport.
Animals,
yeah.
With 80 minutes.
Fight club. Yeah.
To actually, and they sorted it out on the field, and we had some cracking. You had some cracking tests against the Aussies, and we grew up watching it. But I was expecting to see that, which would have been a bit cliched, but the angle that your son's taken.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, he's great at what he does. Yeah,
I'm even more enthused about watching it. I could have watched 80 minutes of you smashing people.
Exactly. So we're looking forward to watching it, right? But I might be jumping the questions ahead. But how did you feel watching it back? Was it how you remembered it?
Well, yeah. Look, I sat in the shed for 8 hours. The first 4 hours it rained, so he asked me to come back the next day, and he asked questions, and that's all the input I had. Everything else was done by Luke and his film crew. So when he sat down, when he gave it to me to have a look at it.
He was impartial, you know, it was warts and all. He didn't sort of go, Dad wouldn't like this.
No, he's got me dropping footballs and all, getting knocked out, and he's loving it, yeah. I dropped the football once in my life, and he's got it on camera.
It's beautiful that it's through his eyes. You know, it's his story, and it must make you hellishly proud.
I'm not going to spoil it because you got to go and watch it. But man, it made me cry, and because I grew up watching you like Macca, and you know,
hold on, mate.
No,
hold on,
we did, not you.
Yeah,
you're not that young.
You're older.
Yeah, but I was watching him. But I was older when I was watching him.
Yeah, you had pubes when you were 8, mate. So what do you mean grew up?
You weren't growing up. You were shaving your pubes by the time you watched this.
Yeah, and when they make my biography,
and now you're eating them. Now you're eating the military cream. You know, don't leave it on for more than 7 minutes. It burns.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't answer the phone.
No. So I used to go to Carlaw Park and watch. You know, I used to go and watch the club league. You know, the Fox Memorial and the Root Rooster and all those sorts of stuff. They're brilliant. You'd play rugby on a Saturday and then go and watch you guys smack each other around on a Sunday.
Who's the hardest man you ever played against?
I was about to ask that.
I really try to avoid those questions.
Yeah,
they're all hard, man.
Yeah.
Broadhurst?
I played with him, and I was very pleased to have played with him, obviously, but there was like, everyone was a hard man.
Okay, who was the softest guy you played against?
Who was the wimpiest guy ever played against?
Yeah.
They just didn't.
You can't hide, can you, on the league field?
Yeah, it's a hard thing. I remember we played a game against Manukau. We're going to play Sydney side in the next weekend, so Lois rallied everybody up, and we jump out in the park, and we kicked off, and Gary Prome head high as the first bloke carrying the ball up, and at the end of the game they had 11 on the park and we had 8. The referee was just sending people off the stretcher bearers were just full time running out and hitting people. It was
and how's your metal detector situation going on if you go through?
It's a bit crazy, really. Yeah.
Because I remember as a kid seeing like what was a newspaper or something?
News,
something like a photo of you, and it just basically had
your injuries,
pins and shit.
It was Sunday News, though. I think it was.
I'm not sure. I remember the picture, but now I've had the operation, so now I've got titanium.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I remember going.
You might be the only guy on the couch who's had your nose broken more times than Rick. Rick gets it done by people who fucking hate him. You know, at least you did it in combat.
I remember his were at the pub. Yours been on.
And yours was straighter than his too.
Oh, funny. I remember going to the movies when I was telling you, and it was an afternoon matinee, and you walked in with Martin Bella, and then he walked out, and then he came back with a crate of beer, put it in the aisleway, and you guys just sort of knocked off a crate while you're watching the movie.
Those are the days.
No,
the old days.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have.
And I was.
Well, I'm going to do that when we watch this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the Bruiser Hansen? You know,
Yep.
those.
Wanganui.
Oh mate, the Hansen brothers were like legends.
Yeah.
Right? I went to a Dr. Hook concert. You know, similar thing happened. Like
Yeah,
they came in, and if the aisle was 100 metres long, they walked 300 metres. They were weaving like snakes. But the story that I really love about them, which one can you tell? Well, they had the train tracks used to go past their house, right? And so the Silver Bullet, which was the between Wellington and Auckland train, was on the minute, you know. And so they would just get nude and hang out of the tree, you know, with one arm and just eat a banana, you know, when the train went past, just for shits and giggles.
Oh, no.
Oh, you gotta love it.
Oh, wow.
The Hansen brothers.
You know, I reckon we need to sort of maybe bring a bit more serious conversation in. So,
can I just butt in there?
Yeah.
We used to have nicknames for our mates. We had a bloke who was named Buff, and his name was Buff because that was the sound people made when they hit the floor after you punched them. Yes, wild old days.
Yeah. Well, let's bring someone young and new age on the show. You know, just to balance things out. Matty Johns.
There he is.
No problem. Yep.
Oh, thank you.
No, that's your cue to fucking start talking.
Oh, sorry, that was it. I thought we were rehearsing.
Jesus. Thank Christ you're a good-looking fella, because there's not much between the
Send
lines.
the script back again. Send the script back.
Yeah, it runs in the family.
Where'd you get the jersey from first?
I swapped this with Henry Paul.
Okay.
It was a World Cup semi-final in Huddersfield where we beat you blokes in extra time. Ridgie actually could have won the game on full time. He had a shot from the sideline to win the game and hit the post. And so we went to extra time, and as we do, we beat you blokes. Apologies about that. But
don't sound that sorry, mate.
It's an honour to actually be on the show with Marc there on the couch. In the early 80s, I was a North Sydney fan. Had guys like Mitchell Cox in the side. You had a terrific side. I remember one year, Marc, he was making the semi-finals. It might have been in 82. And also, mate, which Marc would be too humbled to talk about, was I had a conversation last year with Wally Lewis. And Wally actually credits Marc with saving his life. They're playing in the Brisbane competition, early 80s. Marc with North Devils and Wally's with Valleys. And Wally got hit in the throat. And unbeknownst to everybody else, he was laying on the ground choking. And then Marc came to his rescue and saved his life. So.
Is that right, mate?
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was actually. Wally, good. Thanks, Matty. Well said, mate. But it turns out that I was the bloke who hit him in the throat. So
you owed him one. There's an upside and a downside.
Yeah, God giveth and taketh away.
We played against the South Africans with Otago, and that was their test side. And John Leslie used to get quite intense before the game. He was very, very excited. In the first ruck, we go to ground, and he's on the bottom of the ruck with Just van der Westhausen, the halfback, and he just throttled him and grabbed him in the throat, and he came back to second five, and I said, what? And he was lying on the ground going, I've been choked. And he came back and he said, fuck, I got a bit excited, mate. He couldn't actually understand what he'd done, but he just, how the adrenaline sometimes overtakes.
Sure. Yeah, wow.
Not a sane guy, but he just...
But there's been an evolution in sport. You can't get away with anything now because of the...
Bottom of the ruck, you could do a lot of bad things down there, couldn't you, Rick?
What do you think about that, Marc? I mean, the game has changed.
It has, yeah, and most probably for the better, because there's a lot of people that I played with and against that aren't well because of what's happened. It's a terrible thing.
The high stuff.
Yeah, but that's the way the game was played.
Yeah.
Jimmy Coleman's, I think Matty came in and cleaned it up in the early 80s. Yeah.
Gentleman Jim Combs, he did. And the first big suspension, I think, Marc, was Bobby Cooper. Hit someone with an elbow, which back in those days, probably 6 months before, would have been play on.
Yep.
I think Bobby got 15 months suspension. That's right. And everything started to change from
there. He did hit him hard. He broke his palate. He hit him that hard. It's like a car accident. With the power,
Yeah, wow.
It was, but it was just like par for the course.
Well, if they say Richie McCaw, when he was playing an All Black Test, when it was clean by comparison to what you went through, they reckon his impact or structural issues were the equivalent of having a moderate to serious car crash every game he played. Oh. What the fuck was it like? You would start being hit by a truck every time you played.
Oh, it's what you expected, and I got my fair share of injuries, like everybody did in my day. But you'd be handing it out too. You weren't like to stand over there getting
up and just to be honest, right? So my old man, he's older than you. He played rugby league and quite high level, whatever. He used to look in that era at rugby as soft. How did you feel about rugby at that stage? Did you go, okay, it's great, they're cool, they're the All Blacks, but it's soft compared to what we're doing?
No, not at all.
If you be honest.
No, and the bottom of the ruck would be no fun. I'll give you the tip, In fact, I know...
Tackling wasn't there, though, was it?
It's different, it was more... Everyone that played in Sydney in the early 80s to the mid-80s, they're a little bit mad. And you get a little bit mad people together, you're going to get a fiery result. So it was just how it was,
Yeah. Can you surf? Because it's a sort of a similar mentality, I reckon, to big wave surfers, you bloody front rowers, you forwards.
My older brother was a mad keen surfer, and I went out on the drink with him and his surfing mates one day, and they were madder than the footy players when you go out on the drink.
Yeah, they're not too dissimilar,
They're very crazy, yeah.
Can you surf, Matty?
I used to be able to till my knees become bone on bone, but I go out the front a little bit. I paddleboard now, but I can back that up. Some of the surfers, some of my mates who are surfers, they go hard. I mean, look, when you go for a drink with a few of them, it's not a 2020 game. It's a test match. Put the whites on.
Mate, what's the hardest part about paddleboarding? This is a joke. What's the hardest part about paddleboarding?
Well, I'll tell you what, Marc. I was out there paddling one day and there was a white pointer shark out there. So it's one of those things, like when there's a shark beneath you, I mean, paddleboarding is pretty simple. It's a bit like, you walk along, you can walk a plank, which sits a foot from the ground without a worry. But if you put it 60 metres in the air, suddenly you start to get nervous. It's a bit like with the paddleboarding. I was paddling and suddenly looked down and saw the white pointer shark.
Jesus.
And suddenly paddleboarding wasn't so easy.
Did you lie on it? Did you lie on the board just to get a bit more stability, or did?
I went down to my knees, and I prayed simultaneously.
Apparently, if a great white attacks you, apparently you just gently squeeze his testicles, and it will take the bite off, and then you rub it and send him on his way.
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't know.
I mean, it's like that tip, like if a dog bites you, you shove your finger in its ass.
And only
I mean,
it's
you're like, you've got a fucking Rottweiler on your fucking thing. Just stay. You know what I mean? Who came up with that?
Yeah.
You know, it might work, but good luck.
I think it was John Hopewadi who came up with that one, boys.
Yeah, it's some guy who's poking a dog's ass and got bitten.
Yeah.
See, that's how you get him off.
Well, he was poking the dog's ass and he didn't get bitten. He goes, well, do it now. And it might stop biting me, you know?
Either way, the guy poked the dog's ass, right?
Oh, well, we're going to edit all this out.
Yeah, we can cut that.
That's the only bit we're leaving in.
The last show's 2 minutes long.
So, Matty, what was it like to wrestle the shark?
You jump in?
You
Piece of cake. Just ask Mick Fanning. I showed him how to do it.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, excellent.
How big was it? Was it like how many metres?
Doesn't matter.
Well, I think. I don't know, Mark. I didn't really ask for his measurements. I just got away.
You don't pat him on the tape measure?
No, I don't. I left that at home, unfortunately.
We went out to Seal Island, it's called, off Cape Town.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be sharks there.
And we went out to Seal Island and we were chumming the water, and the great whites were coming up to the boat, and the guy was like, they were coming out of the water to bite the chum sack, and he was grabbing it by the nose, and it was quite an amazing thing.
Did you get a cage? Did you get in the cage?
Well, no, there was too much current running.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I think we filmed something.
Yeah,
we
you
got
were in the cage.
Not in the cage. But we didn't
I
get
wouldn't
the
do it.
water.
I couldn't do that.
Ironically, your nickname, Sharko.
Where'd that come from?
No, don't tell him, because that's
part of the thing.
Oh, the movie.
But it's a Kiwi nickname. Everywhere I went, I got another nickname, obviously. So, like at the Bears, North Sydney, I was Kaiwai, because that's how the Aussies say Kiwi. So, yeah, Kaiwai. So, everywhere I went, I got a different nickname. So,
I got a story about one of Mark's old teammates, Mitchell Cox. Mark, you know, now I think Mitchell Cox. I think he came across to rugby league from rugby union. Did he play for the Wallabies, Mark?
He did, yeah. I think he toured with them, yeah.
And he played at North Sydney. Then he went across to Manly, right? So I'm at the pub one night at the Stone. I haven't got a drinking problem, I swear. And we're at the Stone, and I'm with a mate of mine, right, and a few people. And my mate is the biggest Manly fan in the world. Right? So we're sitting there with you, and I said to him, Pookie, who do you reckon, who's your most favourite Manly player of all time? And he replied, mate, without a doubt, Cliffy Lyons. I went, oh, that's interesting. I said, who do you think is the worst Manly player of all time? And he said, Mitchell Cox. And I hear this, sorry, boys, did someone mention my name? I said, I don't know, mate, who are you? He said, Mitchell Cox. And I said, oh, yeah, we were. I just asked him, mate, who's the best Manly player of all time? And he said, you. He said, boys, you're not going to buy another drink for the rest of your night. It's on me.
He was a good player, though, Mitchell Cox. Very good player.
Yeah, he was a good player. Just something on the Kiwi jersey, too. I had I thought of it when I was looking for my All Blacks jersey there. The late, great Jerry Collins, right? Jerry Collins was going to knock my head off my shoulders one night. You had just been beaten. Was it 2003 World Cup in Australia? The one that the Johnny Wilkinson World Cup?
Yep.
Yeah, it was that one. Anyway, you blokes got knocked out in the semi-finals. And I'm at a bar, and a lot of the All Blacks players are there. And I look over at Jerry, and for whatever reason, because he doesn't look anything like him, I went up and introduced myself, and I said, you're Muliaina, Charles Muliaina, aren't you? And he said, you having a go at me? I said, no, I'm not. He goes, you're a fuckwit. He said, do you want to go out the front and sell it? I said, honestly, I apologise. And it was the great Jerry Collins.
He would have made a good league player, right? You reckon?
Oh, mate, he'd have been a brilliant league player.
Oh, very, very good league player.
He would have transitioned okay.
As I said before, mate, a lot of the blokes come across. I see people forget over this side of the ditch. Like Tana Macca, he was at the Newcastle Knights originally, Tana.
Oh, really?
And he got homesick and he wanted to return. And I think our coach said, he's never going to make it anyway. Let him go.
He was a junior Kiwi, Tana.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, he played for the
He Wainui boy, wasn't he?
Wainui boy.
And he sat on the wing and then he moved in.
Yeah, and I don't even know, but Mark Graham's cousin is JK, John Coohan.
Oh. Yeah, there's a similarity.
He's the black sheep of the family, obviously.
Yeah.
Just don't talk about him.
He's the non-achiever.
Yeah.
Did you, when you were playing,
Oh, I would have loved to have seen Jerry Collins maul you. That would have been quite a highlight.
Yeah,
Sadly, they
don't
wouldn't have had-
worry about the white porter or the great white. Yeah, Jerry would have been a lot more terrifying.
You got the slack face, you know. And if you got the slack face, you're in it, mate. And there's no warning. It's coming.
Yeah, certain people you wouldn't get in the dust up with.
Oh, no, you got to stay an arm and a half
Him and
away.
Gordon Tallis are great mates. Him and Gordon Tallis were great mates.
Oh, okay.
Once upon a time. And
So you know how they do
Robbie's
the
some
fight
great
for life? That would have been a beauty, wouldn't it? Tell us first.
You know who did
Terry.
the first Fight for Life?
Who?
Marc.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is Buck Shelford.
Yeah. You beat Buck too, didn't you?
No.
Did you not?
No, he beat me.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
It was close, I remember that, because the first one.
Yeah.
And that was the same one. Didn't Rushy fight?
No, he was-
Rushy was
Ten
the
next
Golden
year.
Gloves,
Yeah,
mate.
he was.
You know,
Yeah.
he was a
What
good
was
boxer.
that? What was that experience like? Because I mean, you use boxing and training and league and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
actually be in the ring.
Oh, yeah, it was like I was 40,
Yeah.
40 something anyway, and I lost a son to suicide. So it was, whatever you can do to raise money. So obviously it was. It wasn't about boxing. I mean, it was about raising money. It wasn't about winning or losing. It was about doing the right thing by our young boys or young people that are going through a hard time. So I was very privileged to be part of that. So I was happy, and it was a really big fundraiser. It worked out really well.
And people
It's a wonderful thing to have that league versus rugby.
Yeah, sure.
It's the thing I loved having, had a little play with both is that the league boys are just such solid, good fellas.
Yeah.
Right, like they're not the most.
Articulate.
Well, not the most.
Hey, you've got two league guys here.
No, but in a nice way. Not the most complicated. They're just solid. They're solid, fucking good buggers.
But I think the balls as well, though, to get into a boxing ring, because it's an ego thing, a rugby league, whatever. But also, it's just you and him, this guy, And if you knew you're going to win, of course you'd do it. There's a chance you're not going to win.
Yeah, but
You don't
remember,
wanna,
Steve McDowell was like one of the toughest guys in the All Blacks, and we're just going, oh, mate, and he was a black belt jiu-jitsu, and
that's right.
I'm going, mate, he's going to destroy. I don't know who he was fighting, but I'm just going,
What about, many of you ever been in the boxing ring for one of those charity boxing things?
No, boys, I'm a pacifist. I don't get involved in that stuff. Actually, if you look through the DNA of our family, we're not renowned for our fighting. You might remember a State of Origin game in 1996 where Jamie Goddard just pulverised my brother. Andrew was carrying on in that game like a pork chop, and Goddard gave him a serving, gave him a few right hands, knocked Andrew over, and then Andrew, not the brightest spark, as you talk about rugby league players, he's probably the best example of that, Scarfy. He went after him, and then he just sought Joey out again. I belted hell out of him. Ended up Joey had 31 stitches in his mouth, and he's such a vain bastard, right? They took him into the dressing room while the game's on to get him stitched up. And as he was getting stitched up, he used the doctor's phone and gave me a call. So I'm watching the game, and he rings me. And he goes, "Did it look bad?" And I said, "Mate, they'll be showing that highlight for as long as rugby league is played." And so every time they show... So you can do anything. You can be the greatest player of all time, anything. But, mate, you get knocked out once, that's what they're in for.
That's what I'm saying. It's unforgiving, eh? One punch, it's all over.
I remember playing in. I think we were playing at Huddersfield, and I took the ball out as fullback, and I slipped over, and this prop just went fucking doink, and just dropped his knee right into the old conch, and I felt from my nose, and it was gone, and I caught it about here, and this is just before half time, and so I come into the changing room at half time, and Frank Endicott's giving the speech, and I'm in the mirror just going, I'm fucked. And Frank said, "Get over here, Macca, you got a nose like me now." I said, "That doesn't fucking help me, Frank."
You stayed on.
But I stayed on. They kicked the ball to me on the 6th. I kicked it back on the fucking 1st. I've never seen that in league history, And then I go to the doctor after the game. I said, "Mate, sort this shit out, right? I got to get into London. This is, the right time of my life to be here, And I've got a conch out here." And I go to the doctor, and he said, "No, mate, we've got to wait 6 weeks for it to heal, and then we can break it." And I said, "Oh, fuck that."
They heal, then break it.
Yeah, it's got to heal it, and then they can snap it back with the steel rods. So I went back and, I heard you'd straighten your own conch. I went back and drank the entire minibar and sort of banged it back in and got it sort of semi-straight.
The minibar or your nose?
Well, yeah. Well, none was straight by the end of it, but,
I've had one victory my whole life, right? So, 1986, 1987, 1988, 1989, 1990, 1991, 1992, 1993, 1994, 1995, 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030, 2031, 2032, 2033, 2034, 2035, 2036, 2037, 2038, 2039, 2040, 2041, 2042, 2043, 2044, 2045, 2046, 2047, 2048, 2049, 2050, 2051, 2052, 2053, 2054, 2055, 2056, 2057, 2058, 2059, 2060, 2061, 2062, 2063, 2064, 2065, 2066, 2067, 2068, 2069, 2070, 2071, 2072, 2073, 2074, late 90s, we're having a training session at Newcastle. It's the last training session before we break up for Christmas. And my brother was in one of his moods, right? And he's firing balls at forwards' ankles and abusing them when they're dropping it and so on and so forth. So we're having a big dinner with all the families that night, and the boys come up and say, mate, listen, is there any chance of making sure your brother's not there? I said, not a drama in the world. So I went up and I told Joey, I said, listen, man, they've cancelled for whatever reason. And he said, oh, yeah, I didn't really want to go anyway. So we're all sitting having this beautiful dinner at this Vietnamese restaurant in Newcastle. All of a sudden, I hear this banging. I turn around, and Andrew's walked past with all his moron mates, and he's spotted us in there and realised I double-crossed him. So he's punching the glass at the front of the restaurant, and everyone's horrified. Anyway, he takes off down the road, and I'm sitting with my wife, Trish. He's called me every name under the sun. And, of course, I know he can't fight. I thought, okay. So I wandered down to the pub, to our local, the Cricketers Arms, and Trisha's in tow. She says, don't do anything stupid. I said, no. So I walk into the pub, and he's there with all his moron mates, birds of a feather. And he goes, oh, here she comes. And I said, right, are you outside? So I'm waiting out the front. Anyway, it surprises me. He's come out, and he's that drunk. And I just give him a couple of right hands, bang, 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 and drop him, and then walk away. Little did I know, Trish actually hit him on the head with a handbag on the way out, so he was out of sorts anyway. But anyway, I get a call from a rugby league journalist, the great Phil Rothfield, Buzz, and he said, mate, listen, I'm hearing a bit of a story that you and your brother got into a stink outside of a pub in Newcastle. I said, Buzz, I don't know where you heard that. Didn't happen. He said, mate, listen, I got a lot of people in Newcastle I know very, very well. Mate, it happened. And I said, Buzz, I'm telling you now, it didn't happen. And he said, mate, I don't like people who lie. And I said, righto, Buzz, you tell me what your mate told you. He said, mate, he reckons you gave him a flogging. And I said, you know what, Buzz, you got me. It did happen. Yeah.
Not that we want to glorify fighting and stuff, but the Timothy Dowling fight was obviously
delightful.
On the field, they both got sent off, then they started scrapping on the sideline.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that like to be sort of part of that sort of...
Well, I didn't know anything about it because I'd been KO'd earlier, so I was actually...
Because there was a dust-up on the field first, right? And then it ended up...
Yeah, no, I got whacked up about 20 minutes in, and I lasted till about half time. And then I came out for the second half, so they tell me, and they kicked off, and I was still standing there after a set attack. I was still standing in the same spot the same. So I was sitting beside Graham Lowe, and it all happened just over there as I was walking off. But the next day, I caught it all on video, and it was like a proper street fight.
Funny how they walked off.
No boxing involved.
Then
he got the left. He gave him the elbow. That was bloody. That was
almost like they made up.
But actually, in the movie, that's.
It's in there.
See in the movie.
That's got to be in the movie.
And then
I tell you what, in that fight. Sorry, Mark. Apologies, Mark.
No, I was just going to say, matey. In the next game, in the second test, Dowling waits for Kevin Tamati at the railway grandstand at Carlaw Park, and they shake hands with one another and give each other a hug, and off they go.
Cool.
That's
very
that's the way of it.
Have you had any long-term effect from concussion? There's a sort of a theory that some people either are affected by concussion long-term or not. It's like 50-50, you're either genetically predisposed to it or not.
My wife would say yes.
Yep.
But I've done all the tests. I'm going pretty good. Yeah, at this stage. Yeah. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
In the movie, it talks about that game, and you turned to Graham
Lowe.
Graham Lowe was the coach, and Marc turned around to him and was in tears and said, I've let the side down because I've been come off concussed.
Well, I don't know. I don't recall.
Well, you don't know because you're out cold. Yeah, I'm going with the movie.
Yeah, most probably, yeah. I don't think he'd lie.
If you go back and have a look at that fight, if you're watching the fight, as they're headbutting each other, there's a young kid in the background who's standing looking at starry-eyed. It's actually the ex-Australian cricket captain, Mark Taylor. He's sitting there as a kid watching the fight, so he's in the background there. And also Kerrod Walters is a kid there. So you can see all these people in the background.
Really?
The backdrop.
Jeez, you are a train spotter.
Wow.
I am. Yeah, don't tell me anything you don't want me to remember.
Good though. I love useless trivia.
As Kiwis, we all remember that. But you've got to say, a real Kiwi legend is someone that, or Aussie legend, is someone who's respected on both sides of the ditch. You know what I mean? As opposed to, I'm a fan of him because he's an Aussie, he's a Kiwi. You know, like Marc in this case, Aussies respect him just as much as we do, if you know what I mean? That's what a legend is.
Marc, you're in the Aussie Hall of Fame, aren't you?
In the NRL, yeah.
In the NRL. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
I was lucky enough.
How'd you get into that?
The first overseas player.
Yeah.
To be put in. So that was, they had the first 100.
Yeah, Mark.
And I was 101.
Yeah. Incredible, Mark. Like the respect that Mark's got over here is, there's people as respected, but no one more respected than Mark. And I'll tell you the other thing about Mark too, mate, is that Mark was hell of a coach. Like we played, Mark, I remember we played you blokes when you coached the Warriors in 1999, and we're on a run. I think we won about 6 or 7 in a row, and you beat us 42-0 at home.
You would think I would remember that, Matty, but I can't.
Did you enjoy the coaching?
I was actually talking to you after the game. You were commiserating with me.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to. I had 7 years as an apprentice coach under Graham Lowe, Bobby Fulton, Timmy Sheens, and guy at North Sydney was. Oh, what was his name? No, not Fulton. No. Anyway, he was a really good coach. Anyway, so I had 7 years doing that, and then I took the Warriors job, and then after that I went to coach rugby union in Auckland here, and then I lived in Japan for a couple of years, and before I did the Japan thing, I went to help JK up in the Six Nations. So I was, I love coaching. I was like, I saw Stacey Jones today, and I'd coach Stacey, and he's the Kiwi coach now. And I was saying, how do you feel? He said, oh, God, I'm nervous, So yeah, it was.
To bring it back to you.
No, because I just need to apologise.
No, you go.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
You go.
Because I'm going to apologise. During what was a really important story, I don't know if you can hear that, but there was sort of like a loud stream of urine.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to hear it from Australia.
Yeah, and you can hear it in Australia?
Yeah,
do you know how to shut the door when you go to the bathroom?
But it's a small apartment, Rick. I mean,
it's only.
Might make it noisy if it travels a long way.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, last week I had laundry on.
Well, next time I'll just put it in the water.
You should have done it. Should have put a sponge.
Sorry, jeez.
That's probably
I just want to say one more thing with Mark. So your son never really played league or anything like that. He different path altogether.
My boys?
Yeah.
Actually, they were all pretty good at footy.
Yeah. But with the movie...
exceptional basketball and tennis player.
Yeah.
Really good. And a very good cricketer. And he looked like he was going to go and play New South Wales cricket for some time. He's a really good spinner, so he was a very good athlete. And Paul he got selected for the Balmain, was it President's Cup or something like that? And then he... Yes. Wasn't taking it too seriously, so they gave him the arse and he ended up playing rugby union. So he's a very tough player, very tough guy.
Just a random comment, but how cool is it to meet your hero and for them to be cooler than you thought they would be?
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I'm just loving being in your company.
Thanks, mate. Same here. Just nice to be here.
Well, I might change your perception of Mark, because one of the things that he's pretty passionate about, he's obviously passionate about rugby and rugby league, but he's also really passionate about a new sport, something you think is going to take the nation by storm. And you've been running a training camp here.
Matty, you're going to love this, mate. These tricks in New Zealand, they're not up for it. But in Aussie, this will be huge. Imagine it in town halls.
All right, don't give anything away. This is the training camp that you ran recently.
Well, it certainly brings a smile to the face, doesn't it? I mean, we've got Selwyn in behind us, a little person on a little horse, and he's practicing his jousting. You've got, I'll tell you, your accuracy's not bad at all. The only challenge we've got is horse control and speed, right? And potentially your ability to sell yourself, because to be fair, your sales pitch at the beginning, wasn't that compelling. At the moment, consider it just an investment. I've got to be honest, I'm not sure about either Selwyn or the horse at the moment. If we're going to put on a world-class show. That's it, mate. Good speed. Good speed. Good control. Brilliant. Brilliant. What are you going to call yourself? You're going, oh, God, control that horse. Sean off. Sean.
Gone to my head.
Yeah, fair enough.
Why am I so good at the start? Why do you think? Is it good looks, charm, personality?
I think it's just natural, is it?
Yeah.
Natural charisma.
Yeah.
And hand-eye coordination. You've got that in spades, mate. Can we take it back a bit further? Sorry, yeah, good run up. Oh, that's good. That's brilliant. Hit it. Oh, down he goes. Are you right? Oh, let's touch the horse. Oh, God, the horse is gone. The horse is gone.
So this is the birth.
Here we go. There we go. How are you feeling?
Oh, yeah.
Are you quite happy with your first time on a horse?
Yeah.
I think the hand-eye coordination's pretty damn good, no doubt about that.
Rightio.
It's whether or not you can take a stick at about 30k right in the chest. Well, mate, I tell you what, if we can get you winning a jousting competition, it's going to be about the equivalent of walking on the moon.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong there.
Matty, this is the only guy who's going to fucking get this, right? Like, I've sold this to you.
You haven't sold it to anyone. We sit here every week and Marc talks to us about
dwarves.
They're
real people. They're little
trying to get
people.
us on a nationwide tour.
I'm starting to see it though, because once you get two of them going at each other.
So imagine town halls across Australia, right? And we've got these two midgets on miniature ponies, and they get up and they say, "Yeah, g'day, my name's Jimmy, and I'm going to be wearing red tonight, you know, and I'm paying $3.50, you know." And then you've got like midgets. Dwarves. Fuck, you can't say that. Dwarves walking around saying, "Yeah, who wants a bet on Jimmy? Who wants a bet on Jimmy?" And then you got buxom serving wenches and a big banquet with
they
pigs on
dwarfs as
spits.
well, though?
And they're putting
full size.
They're putting that's to juxtapose the dwarves. And then they put pints out on the table with meat and halls.
Pints of meat.
And you're betting on the little guys and they're selling themselves. And then they charge across the stage and they joust.
Yeah.
You know? And you win money on it, and we have a compare, you know, and maybe you can have running of the dwarves, like where we put a strip down the middle of the room, you know, and we send sheep after them, you know, it's sort of half time.
No, I thought you'd maybe get 200 dwarfs that run down a boulevard.
Yeah, well, they do, but they've got sheep chasing them.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about the bulls. It's running of the dwarves.
And goats.
And he thinks he can charge
and goats. One or two goats with
horns.
Oh, fuck, mate, in Aussie, mate, this would go off. It'd fucking go off,
Mate,
in Aussie.
I can sell tickets to this. I swear to you.
Mate, I'm coming over. We need to have a beer and a natter.
The only other person in the world that thinks this is a good idea is Matty Johns.
That's why I'm coming over.
I'm 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's
51 now.
Okay, well, you're on the side. You can come on the trip. We need to discuss this
And as part of the idea of using little people, because that means you can put them in smaller venues.
Yeah, well, that's it. You just go to town halls, mate, you know? That's the brilliance of it. You don't need to hire fucking the opera house. You just do a fucking school hall and charge the little fuckers.
Mark is the voice of reason here.
No, Marc was talking about being able to stack them in the plane, so he didn't have to buy 2 seats.
Good point.
That was his logic last week.
Well, a maxi taxi, 16 people, you've got 24 in there.
Sorry, Marc. Sorry, mate. This is not good. I'm getting too excited now.
Yeah. Look how excited you've got him. I reckon you two should do a show together.
Mate, that's why you're my man, Marc. Oh, that's the best.
Let's bring back to league for a minute, if I could. And this is quite personal. My family was a league family. Old man played West Coast. Uncle was a Kiwi.
Okay.
62, 63. But it's like a joke.
This show's a disgrace.
He's making me laugh, mate. He's on a camera too.
But that year, they had 8 Kiwis from West Coast in the Kiwis, right?
Sorry, Lana.
That's okay.
8 out of 13. That's pretty amazing, right? Because they were coal miners and working whatever. So how much has, I suppose, I don't know, times have changed and, you know, it's sporadic, you know. I suppose there's 2 Aucklanders then and a couple of Canterbury, whatever. You know, like, how do you see the state of league in New Zealand, put it that way, in the provincial sense?
I think league's going all right. I think the professional scene's most probably, like, when you consider, I suppose, and Matty's most probably verified this, that out of the top 30 players for every 17 clubs in the NRL, most probably 50% of them would have Kiwi passports.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe league's not going so good in the outer suburbs or in provincial areas.
And they pick them up young. And
getting them over there. And it's massive. On the West Coast thing, I think one of the first tests I played at Carlo Park against the Pommies. In the 3rd test, they'd beaten us in the first 2. I joined the team. They had an injury. And I'd watched the first 2 tests and they were giving it to us. So early on, I got hold of one of them and you know, did the wrong thing, I suppose. Anyway, later when I carried the ball, they pinned my arms and a bloke ran past and headbutted me and split me pretty good. Well, it felt like it was a split. It was stinging, and the referee went, "You can't do that free kick," you know. And I was standing beside Butch Cole, famous Butch Cole, Tony Cole, who was a real hard man, and who's since passed away. May God bless his soul. Anyway, I said, "Hey Butch, how bad's me eye?" And he went, "Which one?" I went, "Oh, she was embarrassed." Oh, geez. Anyway, we played on. Half time come. It's a muddy day, right? Half time. Going to have a team talk. I said, "I'm just going to jump in for a leap before I come for the team talk." I went in and there's a mirror and I looked up and there's a fucking big hole in my head and I walked back and said, "That fucking one man, Butch." But he was very hard man down the. We'd tour and they would say. We'd tour together, went on several tours, and they'd have, if you needed stitches after a game, if you're a coaster that needed stitches after a game, you had to shout beers for the other coasters because
really
they didn't cop getting this cut,
Yeah.
Butch after a test match one day at Bradford, we won the game, all in this big bath as they do in Pomeland, and he's been kicked in that face, and his mouth guard had come out through his cheek, and it pushed it back in and played on, obviously, and it had this champagne. He was going, "What's this?" And he was adding champagne at the side of his.
It's one thing I've noticed while you were saying that story is you've still got beautiful ears. You know, which
Thanks, mate.
the rugby equivalent don't have, do they? They've got the big cauliflower lugs.
How old were you when you played your first game for the Kiwis?
21, 22, something like that.
What was your mental approach? Did you ever go in mentally overawed? You know, when you're playing against these Aussies and guys who were in the side for a long time and in the Poms, and
I suppose England was stronger back then as well, weren't they? Like in a way, England was
they were
forwards. You know,
they were mean and nasty. Good with their elbows, and they wouldn't mind putting a slipper in and their knees and stuff like that.
They weren't afraid to grab the grapes either, were they?
No. And anyway, I'm playing this game, and this guy gives me one, right? And the referee's standing right there, and I said, "What about that, ump?" As I'm standing up to play the ball, he said, "Mate," "I'm not here to referee a fight." He said, "I'm just here to referee the rules of the game." And I said, "Well, that's certainly not in the rules of the game." In other terms, obviously.
Yeah.
He said, "Mate, I just keep score." I said, "Oh, fair enough." So that my opportunity came, and I cracked someone, and he goes, "You're square." He was keeping count. So if you got too far in front, then he'd penalise you.
That was one of the weird things coming from rugby league. If you went into the half-time change room, and the coach would say, "They've had 7 penalties, we've had 2, so we're going to get a few in the second half." Which I always thought was odd. I thought like a penalty was given out for an infringement, but in league the ref obviously comes in at half time and goes, "Oh fuck it, 7-2. I better give the other guys a few."
I'd remind him
in case they get judged to be.
I'd remind him on the way out, way into the half time or the way out. The coaches told me the penalty count such and such, mate. There's 2 teams out here. You do something about it.
With your movie, does your movie hit New Zealand and Australia at the same time? No.
I've got no idea. I'd have to ask Luke that. I think it's on the 7th of November. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not my movie, it's my son's, yeah.
Your son's movie.
Yeah. I think it's going to go gangbusters in both in New Zealand. Because
so the movie's going to go gangbusters?
Yes, I do believe so. In New Zealand, I think it's and your son, I'll talk to him later, but it was just delightful, the angle that's been taken.
Yeah.
New Zealand will love it because we love you, and Australia will love it because they admire you and respect you. But I think in Australia it'll go massively.
But I think it's a story as well of an era that we aspire to, that we look back on.
We were lucky.
I'm the same age as Macca. I respect him, whatever. But we look up to our heroes, and this is an era that it's not bygone, but it's certainly an era that we go, "Fuck, that's meaty."
Yeah,
I was talking to Luke about, there's one of the clips here and that came up on that short where I get KO'd, a couple of blokes have shots at me and I get knocked out. That was in a test match, the second test, and in 85. And the commentator, having watched the game back, because I couldn't remember the game, so I watched the game the next day, and the commentator said, "Oh, Graham's dropped the ball." He didn't say, "Wow, he's just taken a couple of shots to the head." Yeah. But that was just how.
Totally.
So hold on. So just a reminder to people. So if you want to watch this, it's in movie theatres, and it's going to be out next week in
7th of November.
Yeah, on the 7th, and then a little bit later in Australia, so you'll be able to see it, Matty. And
26th of November.
At the end of November.
Yeah. So seriously, get along and see this.
Big time.
For lots of reasons.
Yeah.
It's a father-son movie as well.
I don't want to take it too far, but are there any sex scenes in it?
Sex scenes? No.
Would you like some?
I'll still go.
Just a couple of things just to tell our viewers, because like the last show and the viewers and listeners, I mean, we've got some merch. Like, people have been asking us for merch. I want you to shut up when I'm doing this. because I know what
You
you're
look
like.
at me.
So we've got a trucker's cap, we've got a t-shirt, and like that, and we've got a hoodie as well.
Just one.
We just no.
Yeah.
Seriously, you can buy as many as you want. So the way to do it.
Well,
So like an auction.
the only thing that makes it relevant is that there's now a hoodie. Like there wasn't a hoodie 20 years ago.
Yeah. So sup2.com, SUP.
You've just put a hood on the t-shirt, haven't you? You just sewn a hood.
No, I knew this was going to be tough. So we'll put it out on social media so they can't talk. So you can get them for
Did you
Christmas.
try the hat on?
Yeah,
Try the hat. You won't fit that on, mate.
I haven't got the.
Unbutton it. You've got a fucking huge head. Look at it.
Look at
Wow, impressive.
that. Hey, it looks cool.
I tell you what you look like.
Fuck, that is a big head.
A thumb with a hat.
Look at sex person.
If we can, this being our last show, so I organised some DoorDash earlier.
Do you want me to put that out to you?
Yeah, we can just bring this out. I've got this from DoorDash, mate.
It's a cake.
Wow.
I've brought us a cake.
So tempted to...
Us.
I brought us a cake from DoorDash because you can do everything there to celebrate our last show.
Have you eaten? You've eaten a piece. Look at that. There's a cut out of it.
Great cake. Why have you got stuff on your jeans? No,
we were trying to save it.
You just do this to yourself.
I know. It's a banana caramel cake to celebrate our last show. And Mark, just a little request from me. When we turn the cameras off,
go home.
Can you smash the shit out of him? Like, just can we reenact some of those times from the 90s and 80s when you just bash people? No. Can you just run in and get an elbow into his throat?
Don't be like that, mate.
No. What?
What you need to do is actually, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind.
All right, Matty, I'm sending him over to you. I think
you'll go good together.
Yeah, I reckon he belongs with you.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're related.
Yeah,
definitely.
We're like-minded.
It's good that you've got the moustache because it sort of separates you now, so we can tell the difference.
Is that a Movember thing?
Thank
or
you.
Just trying to...
No, it's just fashion.
The fashion there.
Yeah.
Obviously.
It's like, the other day I got a crucifix around the neck and I run into a priest and he said, it's good to know you're religious. I said, no, this is not religious. This is fashion.
Yeah.
So mustache.
Well, religion is fashion, really, when you think about it.
No, fashion.
Yeah, well, it's fashion. I mean, I'm into some of that.
I think, seriously, if there's a word that jumps to mind when I think of you, Matty, it's probably not fashion.
Yeah. What's the word?
Yeah. We'll wait till the camera's off, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, gotcha.
Thanks so much for joining us. I think it's a good time to finish this. I mean, we've done 20 shows. Most of them have been a disaster. This one has probably been the biggest disaster of all. And
but we've had the seriously the greatest guest.
It's had the most potential.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much.
What a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah. And you too, Matty.
To have a hero
you, Matty.
who's even cooler than you thought he would be is just amazing.
Well, everyone here is my hero except Rick. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's amazing.
Yeah. I think the only appropriate way to end the show is to just look back at how we ended the show last time. Thank you.
That's it. This is the official end of the Hyundai Sports Cafe for the last... Fuck! Hold on.
Hey, for God's sake!
Hold on. We've got the full emotion. Hey! We've got the full
That's a moustache, Matty. Right there.
Oh, shit, that's a good one.
And your white pointers. That's Steve Houghton, the white pointer.
It's the official end of the Hyundai Sports Cafe. It's a very emotional time.
The next.
We've had some good times and some bad times. We've worked with some true professionals and some true legends. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to go out tonight with the exponents. Thank you.
I won't try. You left me. You know I'm hurting for you.
That looks shit.
No,
I reckon he wish he would be.
Am I in that band? No.